What's up, guys? It's your girl Stacey Cake, your host for What's Hot, and today I'm here to review the official trailer for Superman. Yeah. Now, let me preface this by saying I am not a huge comic book superhero girl, so for all of you DC Marvel fanatics, let's keep it cute in the comments. I am just introducing myself to the concept. The main character caught my eye. I like the poster. It was trending on YouTube. So here we are. With that being said, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, and comment. And let's get into it.
Are you being serious right now?
Yeah,
You'd let me interview you as Superman.
sure.
Ready?
Let's do it, Cronkite.
Superman.
Miss Lane.
Recently, you've come under a lot of fire for what some
it's a
might.
lot of
it's
fire,
it's a
but-
lot. Today, the Secretary of Defense said he was going to look into your actions. That's funny.
My actions? I stopped a war.
Maybe.
Not maybe. I did.
In effect, you illegally entered a country.
This is how you're gonna be?
I'm not the one being interviewed, Superman. Did you consult with the president?
No.
You seemingly acting as a representative of
I
the
wasn't
United States
representing
will cause
anybody
more
except for me.
problems around the world.
And doing good.
I would question myself in the same situation and consider the consequences.
People were going to die. Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Your choices, your actions. That's what makes you who you are.
Superman. He's not a man. He's an it. He's somehow become the focal point of the entire world's conversation. I will not accept that.
I cleaned your boots. I'll go get them for you.
You have a dog?
First thing that stood out to me is there are going to be a lot of different antagonists in this. Like Superman is obviously the hero, but he's up against a lot. And so that's something that I think is going to be really going to carry the movie and keep it entertaining and keep you kind of as a viewer on your toes while watching this, because he's up against a lot, from him being up against his own country to the actual monsters and the villain who was calling him an it in the daggone trailer. And what really stood out to me here was that contrast between what the villain was saying versus like the music was playing, because it was like this dun 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 type music, and he he's not a man, he's an it. And I was like, well, geez, that like kind of contrast really stood out to me there. And so I really want to get into the pros and the cons of this trailer. I'm going to keep it short because I am a novice, but just like my initial reaction, because it definitely looks like a fun movie, and it's something that has garnered a lot of attention, and I want to chime in. So yeah. So I do know Superman is obviously Clark Kent. And one of the pros for me, I really like his look, just as a person, as a cast selection for this. To me, he really embodies like what I would envision the cartoon coming to life. His persona, his vibe really embodies that. And I think a lot of times, although like we typically get great actors and actresses for these roles, they don't really embody what you would envision if the character was to be brought to life. So this actor, David Corenswet really, like, his look and everything really fits like what I would imagine Superman to look like in real life. And so I can really appreciate that cast selection there. And he seems very like in tune with his emotions. Like, I loved his facial expressions throughout the trailer, what he seems to be bringing to the screen. I'm not gonna lie to you, another pro for me is the dog. I'm probably gonna be seeing this because of the dog alone. I love that he has a dog. I think that's an excellent marketing strategy too. They know people love puppies and animals, so just for them to incorporate that in the trailer, I thought was a really nice touch. They snuck it in, and then they confronted it head on at the end, kind of carrying us through. So that's definitely a hook point for me, and I'm sure a lot of other people. And it looks like the dog has powers. I don't know how that came about, but I definitely want to find out. So those were two things that really stood out for me. Just the versatility again in the antagonist of what he's going to be up against, and him not being like an easily received superhero in society. I think it's always a good touch when they do this in these type of movies, because like I said when I was reacting to it, no good deed goes unpunished. So him trying to stop a war for the greater good has brought some tension and anger and angst towards him, because it's impossible to make everyone happy, and there are consequences to every action, good or bad. So I think just them even confronting that added depth to the storyline and what we're going to see when we watch this film. I also really love the logo play at the end with the Superman logo, the colors, that just really stood out to me, how they have reimagined that and just enhanced that. Even the hair, the styling of the hair, because I really like how they did Clark Kent's hair in this, and the curl and everything. That was good job. I really just liked how they really have brought his character to life in this film, and I think it's just going to be a great film in that regard, if I had to guess or put in my 2 cents. And them starting like with an interview with a reporter and kind of giving us the duality of his life, I think was a great look in this trailer. And we see like there's going to be a lot of different settings, which I'm excited to see. So you can tell it's really been money put into this film. We're going to be taking a lot of different places as Superman defeats evil or attempts to defeat evil, from wars to saving the city to wherever that little bald-headed man was living at. Like, that seemed like icy, like Antarctica or something like that. So it's like we're really going to see a lot of different scenes, and I think that also helps with carrying a film. And it's not always necessary if you have a really great storyline, so I'm not saying they need it, because I'm sure the storyline seems like it's going to be good, but I feel like it definitely helps captivate and keep the viewer engaged, just taking in a variety of settings. So yeah, those are my pros. If I had to go into cons, I would say like I would want to know a little bit more about the storyline here, like, just a little bit more of what he's going to be up against. Obviously he's up against the world, because society is like not really embracing him. She's questioning him about what he has done. I'm sure they're going to try to capture Superman and poke needles in him and all that stuff, poke him with a stick and all that. However, just more about like the antagonist he's going to be up against. Like, I would love to just know a little bit more about that. And I saw an article with a headline people were trying to figure out what was the name of the antagonist or something like that. So I'm looking at IMDb. Okay, so it looks like the antagonist, the bald man, is going to be Lex Luthor. I'm assuming that's who we're seeing in the trailer, the bald man that was calling Superman and It. Assuming that's Lex Luthor. Somebody let me know in the comments. I did like a quick little search, and that's what I'm thinking this is. And so just me not knowing much about it, I guess like Lex Luthor is going to be the one to bring up like all of the monsters that are trying to defeat Superman. To compare it to something I'm knowledgeable about, I'm thinking about like Hercules, and how when Hercules was trying to defeat Hades, Hades had like all of these monsters trying to fight Hercules on his behalf. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting in this. But yeah, I would love to have just known a little bit more about what Superman was up against, or what the tension was going to be there, without them revealing the whole thing. But I think that was my main kind of feedback for this. Just giving us just a little bit more about what he's going to be up against. And I'm curious, it did make me curious of how that's going to tie into the war that he interfered in. At what point does that come up? Is the war the kickoff for everything else that's going to happen, or is that something that happens like midway through? To me, it seems like it might be at the start, but I don't know. Again, this seems like it's just going to be a very like engaging and high energy film. We're going to definitely get some of the emotional side of Clark Kent, which I think is always like a great touch. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm going to rate this trailer a 4 out of 5 flames. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and make sure you like, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.